Hi everyone, this is Paul here for the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm going to be talking about Saturn's passage through Capricorn, starting on the 20th of December this year and finishing initially in March 22nd of 2020. But this Saturn will then backtrack into Capricorn again on the 2nd of July before leaving Capricorn altogether on the 21st of December 2020. Now, before I go into Saturn and Capricorn, I think it's worthwhile looking back at Saturn's passage through Sagittarius, looking at what it's been about and observing how it's manifested in some ways. So with Saturn's passage through Sagittarius, I've been looking at areas around about our faith, our beliefs and our understanding of the world, along with the way we behave towards other people as a result. And with Saturn, it's been crystallising our belief systems. So if you look at people who hold cherished beliefs who do not want to let go of them, we've seen those beliefs becoming almost a key part of who they are, to the point that the person will refuse to let go of a belief, no matter how limiting or constricting it may actually be for them. And this happens in terms of our personal beliefs about who we are, but we're also looking at it in terms of morals and what we believe. I mean, belief systems have become increasingly polarised and hard-lined against one another as people, instead of questioning the beliefs and shattering the ones which hold them back in order to untap or unlock more potential within us, have been going the opposite way. It's becoming increasingly narrow-minded and believing that we have all the answers, that we're right, everyone else is wrong, and just losing a tolerance for beliefs different to our own. So it's ideally what we should be doing is taking the inward journey and looking at our own beliefs, see where they constrict us and where they limit our potential, and then making the effort to challenge those beliefs with the light of truth and having the courage to shed the belief, no matter how cherished it may have been for the past few years. And it's also developing a degree of integrity, so what we say is also what we mean. So it's staying true to our beliefs. I mean, one of the issues that we may have faced is the pressure to hide what we truly think or feel based on pressure from society, or based on social pressure. And we may well have perfectly valid points of view that we should be expressing them because they may well help to unlock a better truth that other people may not have realised is even there for them to see. But because we've hid our real point of view, or hidden what we really believe or what we really want to say, then a situation which could have been shifted in a different direction, so it's more aligned with truth, which is one of the core drives of Sagittarius, because we haven't been true to who we are and we've just been people pleasing or staying quiet when we should have been speaking up, then a key truth may be missed. It's allowed things to become more polarised in terms of, instead of trying to build bridges between groups. So part of the whole challenge of Saturn and Sagittarius has been about our own being true to what we believe and meaning what we say, and rather than saying one thing and meaning something different. So it's Saturn tests the integrity of anything it touches. So in Sagittarius, it's about the integrity of our beliefs and what we're saying. Because if we're saying one thing but we believe something else, then that's going to cause problems for us. Other people may think we're one thing, but if we're putting on a facade in order to avoid social disapproval, then the other person's not really going to know who we are, and they're not going to receive any truths from us. They've come to light a version of us that isn't actually true to who we are. So as we move into Capricorn, the focus shifts away from what we believe and what we proclaim to the people, and focuses on our actions here. And it also focuses on commitment to anything, whether it's a discipline or anything like that, and developing self-control. Was also, yes, Saturn builds structures, builds order, but it also destroys structures which are no longer required because what was built in the previous cycle is no longer relevant to who we are now, and which therefore needs to be let go of. Because Saturn uses things like obstacles, limitations, and sense of restriction to strip away what isn't required. And essentially, with Saturn moving through Capricorn, we're dealing very much with the whole issue of use it or lose it. I mean, take for example, one of the things that I do personally is martial arts, but if I don't commit to any practice, I'm not going to get any better. If anything, I'm actually going to get worse over time, because I'm not putting in any practice or commitment to the training in order to get better. And the same with anything else, same with spiritual practice in particular. It's meditation is great, but we also have to commit to it. It's not a one-time deal. And if we don't value our meditation, if we don't commit to it, then whatever benefits we get in the immediate moment of that meditation will not pan out over the long term. So an hour's worth of meditation a week is not going to make a huge difference in the long run compared to doing it, say, for 10-15 minutes per day, because it's building a habit through doing it on every single day. So this is a time where we're really going to have our commitments questioned and our integrity questioned by whether our actions meet what we're saying. If we claim to meditate but we're not, then life will inevitably reveal it. Saturn is often experienced as, or seems to be coming external to us, but in actual fact it isn't. All Saturn is doing is showing us our own unconscious, showing us the structures that we live our lives by, and through external events showing us the consequences of these internal structures which are limiting us. So for any work with Saturn, it's important to go inwards and tap into our unconscious side. So through things like meditation and any kind of spiritual discipline where we spend time with ourselves to really go inwards. Because with Capricorn, it's about integrity, but it's the integrity of the public self matching the private self. And if we haven't made any effort to change our inside, the external world will reflect this to us, reflecting in terms of things like chaos or things going wrong. But ultimately, these are just messages externally of where our own minds are out of balance or are not brought into alignment with what we want to do. So during Saturn's transit of Capricorn, it's important that we really get clear on what we want to be doing and we commit to it. There are no shortcuts here, there are no loopholes to pass through. It's a case of, if we want something, then we've got to put in the hours of effort into it. Otherwise, we won't have it, it will go. It's a bit like plants. If you don't nurture the root system on a consistent basis, the plant will eventually die because you've put no effort into sustaining it. And likewise with Capricorn, any long-term goals that we set that we want to manifest will not come into being if we don't have the patience, the self-control, the perseverance and commitment into doing it. So this is a time where we need to look at ourselves and see, are we actually committed to the things we say we are? And if we're not, ask ourselves, why aren't we committing to it? Is it because of pure laziness, or do we just not value it? Because if something isn't actually what we want to be doing, then it will fade over time in one way or another. It may be a gradual fade, or you may get a shock as suddenly something that you thought you wanted suddenly disappears. But at the end of the day, Saturn in Capricorn is about simplicity. It's becoming or achieving greater simplicity and being real. You can't just pretend to be something anymore. It's not. At the end of the day, we can only ever be ourselves, and if we don't take the commitment to nurture ourselves, to have the discipline to take the actions that we know we need to take in order to manifest any goal we set ourselves, then we can't blame the wider world for that. That's our own choice to not nurture our own journey. So whatever that journey may be for you, whether it's spiritual or just another kind of goal that you've got set, we have to take those actions pretty on a daily basis in order for the goal to sustain itself, in order for it to keep manifesting over time. I mean, it's like building a house, but you can't be bothered to lay all the bricks. If you don't lay the bricks, it will not be structurally sound and it will collapse. Or if you don't lay the foundations for it, again, the structure will not survive the test of time because it doesn't have any solid foundations. So if the foundations that we've built are not strong, then no matter what we try and build with Saturn and Capricorn, it will collapse if we don't do the inner work of getting rid of any habits which sabotage our efforts or keep us being lazy or keep us playing small. And by overcoming these habits and incorporating more constructive habits and more personal discipline, then we can achieve the goals we want. And it doesn't mean that everything's going to be work. It doesn't mean that everything's going to be dull, but this is a time to see what we're actually made of and see if we actually have what it takes to climb our own personal mountain of ambition rather than just following the crowd. Because at the end of the day, we can see the effects of where everyone's following the crowd. People don't seem to know what they really believe in. They're just following what everyone else is saying is the right thing to do, and it becomes a herd mentality. But you can't understand who you are in the concept of a herd. We have to separate ourselves from it, at least initially, to figure out who we are, what we truly want, and what actions we need to take, and then commit to those actions. If we never take action, no matter how grand a dream is, it will only ever remain a dream, or in some cases a delusion. So Saturn Capricorn is a time for taking those actions, steady, committed actions necessary to manifest any kind of goal, no matter what it is, big or small. It takes commitment and dedication for anything worthwhile to be achieved. If it's something, if you think about it, any goal that there's shortcuts to achieving it, you may get there, but does it feel particularly rewarding? You do something that's required a lot of hard work though, and has dramatically changed your life for the better, and you didn't take any shortcuts, you took those steady actions on a daily basis to make the dream happen, then you get this sense of accomplishment that no one can take away from you because you've put the time in, you've put the effort in, you've not relied on shortcuts, you've not relied on any cheap ways of doing things. We've not relied on someone else to bail us out. We've done the work ourselves. Then that's an achievement no one can take away from us, because we know that we had the courage to take the actions to make that dream happen or make that goal happen. But it's only through discipline that we can do this. If we don't cultivate that mindset of discipline and commitment and one pointed focus, then no matter what dreams we may have, whether they're grand or small, they're not going to materialise. It will just remain a dream or vision, but it won't manifest in our lives, because Saturn teaches manifestation at the end of the day. And there's no secret that if you want something to happen, you've got to take action. It's not just going to magic itself out of thin air in front of you. We have to take actions and observe the results of that and make course corrections every now and again, because Saturn will throw obstacles in our way to test if we actually believe in what we're doing. So, I mean, Sagittarius is generally seen as a sign of faith, but at the end of the day, Saturn is the planet which is true faith. It's faith developed through hard work. It's not something you've got a ton of crutches. Saturn takes away all those props that we lean on to support our sense of self-image or who we think we are, and says, well, that's fine, but let's take away this crutch that you're leaning on and see, do you still believe in it? Do you still think you can do it? And it's through stripping away these crutches that we rely on, whether it be another person, an idea, or an activity that we're doing to bolster our sense of who we are. If it's just a crutch, it will be taken away to force us to walk on our own 2 feet. But when we get to that point where we're not relying on crutches or anything like that from other people, and we can do something off our own backs, off our own sweat and tears, off our own effort, then true fulfillment will occur to this transit. But we have to make the choice to do that. It's not some, it won't, things aren't forced on us. At the end of the day, what happens around us is a reflection of what's going on inside us. If we're experiencing chaos, then inside we're in chaos. If things are going along smoothly and constructively and we're manifesting what we need, then we must be at peace within ourselves, and we have the discipline in order to take the actions and follow the right path based on who we are and what we need to do in order to get what we need. So this is a time of getting real, of enough talking, time to get down to action, because if we don't take those actions, nothing's going to happen. Talk is cheap, actions speak. So, but as I said, we have to make the choice to engage with this process. It won't be forced upon us. Our own minds will conspire to create situations which reflect back to us our own weaknesses and our own obstacles to going along this path. But we have to choose to make changes if we want things to get better. Nothing's going to happen automatically for us. Nothing's going to magically change things for us. We have to take responsibility for ourselves and stop blaming on other people. Stop accusing other people as a way to avoid doing the work yourself. If someone else is saying something they don't have integrity, that's their problem. But if we're accusing them about it but we don't have integrity ourselves, then it just makes us hypocritical. So it's time we focus on ourselves, take responsibility for our own thoughts, our words, our deeds and beliefs. And if we do this, then we can achieve true empowerment, true freedom. Because freedom isn't the absence of responsibility. Freedom is what you get through fulfilling your responsibilities and freeing up time to enable you to do the things you want to do, because you've got everything else sorted, everything else is in control, and you take responsibility for the things you need to, so you're not dependent on, or you're not having to worry about things constantly. You've got your life in order, and as a result you're able to focus on the things that you care about and create your freedom through taking that responsibility for who you are and what you want to do with your life. So I hope it's a useful guide for Saturn in Capricorn. There's a lot for us to learn, and hopefully we have the courage to face our own fears, face the own obstacles within us, and improve our integrity through aligning our actions with what we say we'll do and committing to it. And that way we can create the life that we want, and we can be true to who we are in the process. But if we don't get real and aren't honest with ourselves, we're not going to see this side of Capricorn where we're living in alignment with divine order. If we're not aligned with universal laws, we'll experience chaos and we just won't achieve that freedom that we want. We have to align with those laws of karma, etc. So if we know an action could potentially hurt someone and we still do it, that is our own karma. If, on the other hand, we take the effort to observe our actions and modify them to make sure that we're not doing something out of selfish desires, we're looking at the bigger picture and understanding that we're part of a collective whole. If we start an action, it will have consequences, and we have to bear the responsibility of those consequences. So by taking that commitment to self, to know who we are and align our actions and goals with it, then we can avoid the chaos that we're seeing around us, and we can develop order in our lives. But as I said, it's our choice, and no one's going to force it upon us. So I hope this useful guide for Saturn Capricorn, and may bring you many blessings and a lot of personal growth and empowerment. Take care.